Okay, so I have selected the materials I need to create this. I haven't figured out the way to attach the buckles to the bag yet, so I have to kind of keep digesting the process for how to attach the belt to the handbag as opposed to a shoulder strap. And I'm not using a gusset. Instead, I'm bringing in the front and the back and attaching it to a middle insert to allow the bag to kind of drape is the goal with this. So to the back piece I have to attach the belt pieces. I have an idea how to do that, but with a gusset you have this flat surface on the side instead of this droop. And so I don't know, you attach the shoulder strap to that side piece. But here we're making a hip bag with a belt attachment, and it's basically a belt with a bag attached. It's not going to be detachable. It's one piece. So what we have to do is take somewhere in here is where the belt's going to attach, because this flap is going to fold over right like this. So there's the pattern. Okay, so what we're doing is behind here, we're going to be making something like this. So these corners are going to be attached back here to the back of the belt, like that. I didn't draw the dotted line part into my design. I thought about doing a gusset like this, but we're not going to be doing this kind of side stitching on the outside. We're going to go through like that. So that was just an idea. There's all kinds of different ways we can work with it, but I have a piece for the insert, so it's going to be shorter than the overall width of the outside fabric. And these are going to be laced through these kind of on the inside, like that piece here. I had to kind of trace it. Is it perfect? No. Is it going to connect properly and work the way we want it to? Yes. The idea is that it's handcrafted. There's going to be these kinds of flaws as we go. There's no machine tooling going on with these pieces, and everything's going to be done by hand. I'm not even taking a mallet and stamp. The only tool we're going to be using is the rotating hole punch in order to get the punches through the fabric. And the series of blades here. This is really fine. Really lightweight. Very heavy duty. Allows for a lot of stability and strength application. So we use these differently. I do have shears. And there's another pair here for the fabric, but I've been cleaning up a little bit, as you can see, which is why everything's scattered all over the place. There's just a sturdier grip. So these can be used for different cutting methods depending on what you're trying to do and the amount of kind of finesse you have to put into the line when cutting. Like, this is a wide curve and I don't want any sharp corners, so we're going to be, when we apply this, we're going to be rounding this out in some way, shape, or form. I wanted this to be like a wide curve, so there's no reason we don't have to be using this, because when we don't have really tight corners on this pattern, so that's good. I might be using this on the curves. I don't think that I'll be using this because I don't necessarily need to do that. I mean, this is like 8/9 or 9/10 or something. It's 3/16 of an ounce thick. Ounce 3/16 of yeah, not 8 to 9 ounces. It's 3/16 of an inch. 38 hundredths of an inch of our, I don't know, I want to say maybe 7 centimeters, 8 centimeters. I'm not really sure how it goes. But with this, even cutting this, and the trick is to get it, like, that's, I mean, that's a little, you can get rid of this with the beveling tool. That's really easy. But the trick is to get this at a 90 degree all the way down, so that it's perpendicular, a 90 degree angle all the way down. And I was able to do that with this. You sharpen your blades, but I'm getting ahead of myself and talking about a bunch of other crap, so I'm gonna put these away. I don't need them right now. I want to clean and prepare my pieces. Alright, so I cut these today. The first thing I did when I got up, I just had to, I think I had a dream and figured it out. I didn't want to try to cut a belt strip too soon, because I had to cut a straight line first, which is difficult enough. Now this is like a 3 to 4 ounce. I think I say this is a 3 ounce leather. That's like a 1/16 of an inch, or a little bigger, just somewhere between a 1/16 and a 1/8. 7/32. I don't know. That doesn't matter. You know, it's a thinner leather. It's more pliable. It's easier to work with. But it's something that I had enough of to make a belt. Now, on the first cut, there's a couple things we gotta watch out for. This is like a branding on the animal. This is a top ring, and you can tell because it's stretchy, but it's not. You still have these natural flaws visible. What a top ring does is kind of make it uniform. And in this particular instance, everything you need for the day, you know. I want it to be kind of like that. And on the inside, I want to do a zipper. I have some zipper hardware available that I can pull out of another piece. What I found cool is that you can pull hardware out of items you find at thrift stores. So $2.50 gets you a purse with all of these kinds of things in there. But I'm using another piece of suede for the insert. My mom just texted me. She's got tilapia. I don't know how to respond. Oh well. There. Yes. Please. That sounds delicious. Thanks, Mom. Love you. Okay. Always respond to your mom. We don't have them forever. So this is the belt piece here. And I'm not going to be doing any more cutting. Basically, it's two pieces. And I was worried at first. And what I wanted to show is along here, I have some mistakes. Now, this was my first cut. So here, I have this fray. I'm probably not going to be using this end as part of the belt due to this brand here that provides a mar that kind of destroys the structural integrity, but it is a part of this animal's history, and I don't want to hide it. So we're going to figure out a way to incorporate these two ends as sort of a decorational piece. And I have an idea. Design is going to be handled. So okay. Now, what's cool about leather is that it is designed and is kind of, it's the demand for leather products comes from its strength and long-lasting durability, and because it is an organic fiber, this is a piece of skin. Okay, just like you would wash your hands and use lotion and care for your finger. Now I got a rug burn here from dog leash. Cricket ran off. That really hurt. Strong dog. But back to my point is, this leather has been sitting around for 2 years, unused, and it's been handled. It's been stored in odd ways, and there's markings on it that aren't natural to the animal. And there's kinds of this stuff here and right there. Now, those are like tool marks, okay? Distinguish it without looking at it, but those kinds of things, it's durable, and again, that's part of this piece. Is its history. Okay, but its strength and durability holds up to the way it's been stored. All we got to do is kind of clean it up. Now, again, this worries me. It's stretched out, so I don't want to use that piece either the good news is to make an adjustable strap, you want to start with at least a 40-inch piece, which is here. That's about 43 inches. But we're coming in a good 7 inches there from the point. If we go right from there, that's a good 6-7 inches off the end to end. And we're gonna be putting like a point like that on the end of it, an English tip on each end, because we're going to be punching holes eventually down here. And so we have this other about 1.75 to 2 inch end here that's going to be a point, and it's going to have 1, 2, 3 holes at least, if not a fourth one down here, maybe. It depends on how we want to lace it and how decorative do we want to get. There are some neat designs I want to incorporate it into it, but we want in this to match the particular outfit. I'm trying to, match it to. We're gonna keep it subtle. So I'm gonna put some cool details in here. We're gonna be able to do some cool stuff without taking away from the period piece. And somebody have to really look closely at you at a Renaissance fair to accuse you of being some kind of witch or something to that effect. But that doesn't mean we can't hide little future technology on the inside where it's not visible, and small details that are only noticeable if you're using your eye. We have these antique brass floral conchos and rivets and things that, it's maybe one little piece of metal that's intricately detailed. Okay, like this is a floral pattern. With a Chicago rivet that screws in. That helps to hold the piece on, especially through like a couple layers of leather. That might be. There's smaller ones. I had these little ones here that have flower designs on them that are less noticeable, and so I want it to be more of a no hardware, but it'd be cool if I found a way to incorporate some kind of a modern rivet or snap or something into it in a way that doesn't pop out and is in your face. I don't know yet. Those are just ideas that flow through my head while I'm okay. This pattern drove me nuts. And last night I decided that's the design I'm going with. We're gonna see how it works together all the way through, and attach the belt piece here. I had to spend a few days on that to figure out what it is I wanted to do. And I'm happy with it. The next step, that's where I'm going to put I'm attaching the belt piece here. Now I didn't fold this stuff in half, so I did not match the stitching, but that's going to be okay. I'm going to kind of match the pieces up and match the holes as I punch them. They're very small holes, and I'm more concerned with this edge here lining up with this edge here rather than this stitch lining up with the stitch. And as I keep these shapes together, as I punch them and keep these together, the holes should match up as long as I keep these edges together. And the important part about matching the holes up on each piece is to allow it to hang, because if you don't match the holes up, like this might get bunched and causes a ripple, and then down here on this side, this gets bunched and causes a ripple. Now the real challenge and the option I have ahead of me on this pattern is to take the insert, and instead of having the seam showing on the outside like this, I can kind of curve. Once I get the holes matched, I can kind of curve this in, come through the inside. Okay, so what we're talking about right here, I would curve this inside so that this outside stitch here, this piece from here to here, is basically going to curve over and attach to this piece here. So the stitch will be on the inside, and this would be like a crease, okay? And that way I'm hiding the stitch line on the inside of the purse or the hip bag. So those are the design theories I dreamed up in my head. And my uncle had shown me a picture of one that he had done with the same kind of thought process, because we have these antler buttons. Okay, so that right there is going right here, and so this is the inside, right? So that flap's going to go over, and so that button is going to sit visible right around here. So these holes, all right, so this line is going to be matching up where this does. Okay, and then I want to put a piece right here. Is going to be a piece of the green insert that matches this, and I want it to come up the front. Now, whether I come through the bottom and wrap it around the top, that I don't think is going to be good for the integrity of the bag, and it's going to cause, already this is going to be a pouch on this side and a pouch on that side. Like, it's going to hang, you know, it's going to, when you fill stuff up with it, it's going to get to the bottom, and then you're relying on this and this for organization, and these two pouches are for, you know, your stack of things that you need to carry. In my case, I carry a lot of framed 4x6s and a 3-ring binder for photographs. You know, and this isn't designed for that, but you know, this is the kind of dimensions and size that we talked about, and this fits the material that I have. So it's not quite 14 inches wide, it's closer to 10 inches from the inside. At the end, it's going to be about 10 inches from here to here. Where's the... Well, anyway, we'll do it this way. So 12 inches. Okay, that's the inside piece. So it's going to be a little bit bigger than 12 inches wide, 12 and a quarter, so it's in the end non-consequential to the size of the piece. So we'll call it 12 inches long instead of 14 inches. And it's going, this area is going to be a pouch, as well as the back piece. Alright, so what you're looking at is there's a piece that's shaped just like that to that line. Okay, that's one piece. And then a second piece, the backing, is that same piece down here plus this, which is the flap. Okay, so this is gonna come over this flap. I showed you that a few times. That's that piece. And so what we're doing is using three pieces. So the front piece that I just showed you is like a brown suede, a light brown. And then the back piece is going to, flip over the way I said. It's more of a tan, an orange tan color. And so there's a few different theories I get to work with, and a few different techniques I get to kind of figure out how to incorporate together that I think will make a very stylish and very appropriate bag to go with the rest of her outfit, so that she can carry it around to a Renaissance fair without being called a witch or anything like they do for using modern clothing of any kind. But at the same time, I want subtle hints of like a kind of newer technology for that time period. So, I mean, that would, in my imagination, that makes sense. Okay, so I hope by the end of it, we get to see what I'm saying. But for now, I want to clean and condition the leather so that I can work with it. And I'm going to do that with all the pieces. So I got the belt. This is the inside liner. I know it looks black here, but that's a green suede. Okay, and there's some kind of mark here. Again, it was stored in like a tote. It was properly stored, sort of. Now, this is a really dense leather. This is like shoe sole quality shit. You could use that for an outsole on a pair of dress shoes, and that is really dense, hard, thick leather, full grain. And my aunt was making harnesses, but we had all this kind of stored in there. It was rolled up properly, but it wasn't hanging properly, and now we have like these bends, which is fine. Okay, because we have plenty of material to work with, and some. Yeah.
I'm gonna run over and give Sydney a shot.
Okay.
We'll be back in a little bit. I'm taking Cricket.
Okay. Grandma and Cricket are going for a drive. Uncle Sid needs I don't know, it's medical care reasons. That's something that I will have to wash out later. This is a natural flaw that kind of got. Anyway, that piece makes. I'd have to take at least something that's natural cut. That's like a cut that didn't heal on the animal. So here I have this piece that only goes so far because again we have that. So this is like gonna end up as like decorative pieces, or I mean you can do stuff with it. It's not totally shot, but it's hard to work with, and it definitely can't be used. This whole like side here is not doesn't have any structural integrity, unless even the way it was rolled up. This is bowed out. That's correctable. This is the belt leather that we were looking at earlier. So what I did, this was one of the straight lines here, and that is more of an eyeball. and it turned out square. I had to practice, okay? And I ended up with, this is the second piece I cut. And I was able to make this, a square line all the way across. From there to there. So I have two pieces. And that's like a mark from being stored. You can see there's just little nicks, okay? And that's gonna be fine. We can kind of correct those and make them part of the piece in a way that, you know, it becomes part of the piece rather than a quote unquote unnatural flaw, okay? Because it is a natural flaw. It happened in real life, so naturally it occurred, okay? So that's going to be a natural flaw. And that's why this is really cool to be able to get to use all this. But like I said, I'm going to prepare this leather. So I'm going to wash it, clean it, and kind of make it uniform as possible, so that as I work with it, it has a consistent texture and feel throughout. Okay, the looks are going to flow with the natural coloring of the leather and any stains it may have picked up over time. And if we do encounter stains, it's okay. There's ways we can get that out without worrying too much about it. But again, I want to use every part. So that's a piece of that same. This is the back piece, that orangish, tannish suede. Alright. Now this, I think, is the inside. This is the outside. It has a real good feel. Okay. And that's what the touch of the leather, the fabric, is very nice. It's going to sit nice against the hip. It's going to be really decorative. And overall, I think that it will be very presentable. You know, I might take and use that to put the button around, right? Maybe I have to do that in order to use the whole piece, but I have plenty. Again, there's some neat things we can look at about this piece. It is a shoulder of some kind. I did not cut that out. That is... no, that's somebody else's cut, but I made it and followed a contour. There's a natural, that happened to the animal, or at least the hide during production. But, more than likely, yeah, that would be a manufacturing tool mark. Guarantee it. Here we have a logo of some kind. And if it isn't, well, maybe I make it one. Maybe that's just a stain. This is the back of the thing. But here we have part of a serial number. And that's inked onto the leather after the hide is finished. This is a manufacturer's tool mark as it's sent to the supplier. In this case, well, I don't know where the leather came from, so I'm not even going to throw a guess out there right now. But overall, that's a good piece. And it's more than enough to get that back piece. We can make the whole bag out of this one, maybe. But there's a few different flaws in there that I'd have to figure out. So I might, and I might want to use this for another project. And so I went over it with my friend, who was gracious enough to see what I can do and help me pay for the material. So that we can make her something that's practical, decorative, and period authentic. I'm not going to say traditional. It is going to be all handmade. There's no machines. These are my only machines. I do have some tools that I may or may not be using. I'm probably going to use the shears to cut this, but this is like a nice velvety leather. It's very, we looked at the belt material. This is all about the same thickness. I don't know who that is. But it's a consistent width, as well as the belt that we were looking at earlier. Okay, it's all the same thickness, and the widest it's gonna be is at the edges. Okay, and that's gonna be the insert. Now this is where I could have the insert and the lacing showing, and since it's hand lacing with this suede lacing right here, I don't know that I want to hide it, but the idea is, when you open it, you see some cool things like denim and a zipper, for instance. I'm gonna do some saddle stitching probably on the insert, but my point is, if I wanted to put the lacing and make it visible on the inside, is a better way. I would basically be doing this, and on the same side, this, and so the seams are gonna look like that, and instead you're not gonna be able to see the insert. Okay, that's the green piece up there, but the finished product is gonna be more like this. And there's two things about that. Now I can leave that seam like it is, and it's like a hidden seam. I don't want to say hidden seam, but you know what I mean. You find that on different various garments, shoulder on leather jackets maybe, since we're on the topic of leather. Or we're gonna have that visible, and we're gonna edge it together. It's going to be like you take this gum and the wooden burnisher, and you burnish the edges so at the end all of those are polished together. The green shows through, the brown shows through, and the tan shows through on the side as one piece. So there's a few different ways I can go about making that happen, but there's 4 different color leathers, and there's 3 of those colors are suede, and 1 is this top coat. Okay, and I showed you where that belt came from. I cut those this morning, and I didn't think to make a video because I hadn't even showered yet, and I don't know about. I hear a lot of people like watching this kind of thing, but yeah, that helped me kind of prepare to take this template, and what I'm going to be doing is washing, and I got to get, I had this there we go. So this is my cotton rag. Alright, that shirt didn't fit, was old, stretchy, kind of stained, old white undershirt, whatever. I'm just gonna cut this out. Like I said, I had, anyway, I'm gonna prepare this leather, okay? What we have is this wash and cream, alright? We got leather cream. We have the edging gum. There's a leather finish, okay? So basically, this is the gum that goes with the edge coat. We make all the edges black. I don't care. It's gonna polish together the greens and the anything that gets edged is gonna be black. Okay, there's a mahogany, there's a dark brown. This is specifically made for soaking into the edges for whatever reason. It's really thick, and there's a few different options. We have some paint brushes in here. I put them underneath. Doesn't matter. All right, there's some different stains. Now, I like to do a top coat, but we're not talking about that right now. This is already a dyed leather, so what we want to do is clean it. Then we top coat it. There's a top coat. All right, that's gonna be this is a top coat. Okay, that's just that's wax. Okay, so we do the cleaner. I just found it earlier today and I put it aside. Wait, there it is. Okay, so what we're gonna do is start with this leather cleaner. All right, we'll probably add a little water to it. Don't care. All I want to do is kind of clean it up and see if we can't just knock whatever dust or dirt has crept its way into the fabric of the into the pores of the material. Okay, it's like a sponge at this point, and what we want to do is keep it from being a sponge in the future, and that's why I'm going to kind of do the washing right now, because when we're done, we're going to be doing this top coat and protection cream. So that's later. I just want to start with a good clean piece. And so that's what I'm going to do right now. What if we